Breaking news, joining us tonight, Utah Republican Congressman Chris Stewart, a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. The ranking Democrat on your committee, Adam Schiff, spoke earlier today with Wolf Blitzer. This is part of what he had to say.
And what it ended up delivering is criticism of a single FISA application involving Carter Page and its renewals that cherry picks information that doesn't tell the reader the whole of the application. And is, as the DOJ and FBI have said, deeply misleading and factually inaccurate. You could cherry pick any search warrant application or FISA court application and do the same thing.
All right, Congressman Stewart, your response?
Yeah, it's just simply not true. And time will show that it's not true. We look forward to the Democratic response to this memo. We look forward to the FBI's response. I hope the FBI does respond. I hope that we can declassify and show more and more of this information. And when we do, just like a couple days ago, John, when you and I talked, we said, let's let the memo be judged on its own merits. Let's let this memo and the Democratic response to be judged on its own merits, because everything in this memo is accurate and true.
So one of the things that Democrats are saying is that this statement is misleading, that Deputy Director Andy McCabe testified before your committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from the FISA court without the Steele dossier information. Is that what he said?
Yeah, I've heard people say that, and I'm telling you, it is not true. Their accusations or their supposition that that's not what he said, I'm telling you, it's not true. I was there for his testimony. I helped to question him. I asked him that specific question, and I can assure you that the response was, this FISA application would not have been submitted were it not for the dossier, the other supporting material, which was, by the way,
well, hang on. The other
a Yahoo News report, which was another news report based on the dossier. Those were the two foundational elements.
Was there anything else? Was there anything else? Was there anything else besides those two documents submitted to the FISA court?
Not really.
Not really, or not at all?
That was
not really, or not at all?
Well, look. I mean, there were other sentences, there were some other things, but there was no other evidence presented other than those two things.
Was the evidence about the past investigations of Carter Page, was that part of the submission?
No, you know, I don't know if I can answer that. I'm going to go out on the limb, though, and say that no, that it was not.
All right,
it wouldn't, and it wouldn't be.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why.
Okay.
Because Carter Page had never been charged with a crime.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but one thing that was included, which is more than just a couple other sentences, apparently, according to the memo here, was that there was a counterintelligence investigation of George Papadopoulos, another Trump campaign advisor, in July. So there are two parts of this. So the first part, let's stay on the Carter Page discussion here. So there was clearly more evidence submitted than just the dossier and the Yahoo News article. There was also the fact that another Trump foreign policy campaign advisor was under investigation. That seems important.
Hey, listen, you could say there were other people under investigation for other crimes. That doesn't in any way reflect on this question about Carter Page. Whether he was under investigation or not, George Papadopoulos, the reality is he had absolutely nothing to do with Carter Page. They drew no lines between them at all.
That
so
may be.
Even
They were both Trump campaign foreign policy advisors, which may be significant. Yes?
Well, I suppose you could maybe draw that conclusion, but I'm telling you, I don't think in a court of law you could. This person is under investigation, therefore we can investigate this person when there's no relation between them.
All right. The memo goes to great end to point out that the FISA court was never told that it was Clinton campaign funding and Democratic Party funding behind the dossier. Yeah. We've had Democrats say that it was pointed out that there were political connections to the funding. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, they do say that, and it shows their deception. It shows they were trying to hide the fact that Hillary Clinton paid for this. Look, they knew that.
Do you have evidence? Hang on one second. Do you have evidence that they tried to hide it, or do you have evidence that they just omitted it?
Well, I'm saying the fact that they said that there was political person behind this clearly shows that they were trying to obfuscate. They weren't trying to be clear.
How is that evidence of intent? How is that evidence of intent?
because they didn't tell them. They knew that Hillary Clinton, instead of saying Hillary Clinton paid for this, the DNC paid for this, they just said, well, a political person paid for that.
Do you know?
They clearly were trying to hide that fact.
And look, and I think there is something that the public can discuss here, whether or not they should have been told. Why not tell them everything you know about this in submitting the application? But do you know whether it's legally required that they do? I've looked at some of the case law here. And it's murky on this. It actually isn't clear that when you're dealing with an informant, which is essentially what this is, that you need to say everything about the informant.
Oh, I can promise you they had an obligation to do this, a legal and a moral and a logical obligation. Look, I've talked to prosecutors who have worked before the FISA courts, and they are shocked by the fact that they would eliminate something so obviously relevant to this. If you were a judge and you'd been presented with this, wouldn't you want to know that Hillary Clinton paid for it? Wouldn't you want to know that the DNC paid for that? Surely those judges wanted to know that.
4 judges all said that the warrant could go forward. And again, which is just a fact.